Here's the truth about growing and scaling as a life insurance agent that nobody wants to tell you. Applying pressure to yourself is the number one key to help you hit 40, 50, and $60,000 per month. My name's Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. In the past 3.5 years, we've helped 550 agents like yourself hit $40,000 a month and pay commissions. And on this channel, I try to talk about the strategies, tactics, and behaviors that you can go out and implement. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. So I'm going to go big screen for this. I should have went big screen at the beginning, but this is going to be a shorter video today. I want to talk about a very important topic, which is pressure. A lot of times we think that pressure can be bad. And as a life insurance agent, I believe that applying pressure to yourself is the biggest difference maker, because the reality is when you're 1099 and you are an independent contractor, you're a sales rep, whatever you want to call yourself, a business owner, self-employed, whatever, you're determining your own income, right? There's nobody that's motivating you to wake up in the morning. You have to have self-motivation. You have to be driven, and your outcomes are solely based on you. You can blame leads, you can blame your upline, you can blame anything, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you. You have access to YouTube, television, YouTube, the internet, tons of resources, tons of training materials. There's really no reason you shouldn't be successful. The only reason that you wouldn't be successful is because of yourself. And unfortunately, many people try to point the blame. And some people are like, well, how do I do that? Right. I'm not around those people. I haven't been afforded to have great mentorship, whatever you may claim as your semi-excuse. Here's what I'm here to tell you. Pressure is the most valuable tool, I think, that can create the best version of yourself. I'll give you my story, and you can apply it to your situation to figure out how you can apply pressure to yourself, or when pressure is applied, why it makes you so great. So for me, my goal is always to make it to NFL. And during my journey to get there, it was an off season. I had met my wife, who at the time was my girlfriend. And she had mentioned to me, like, hey, what would it look like if we kind of moved in together? And at the time, I'm staying in like basically a room. It wasn't even like an apartment. It's really a room. I was paying, I think, $450 a month for like a room in this house in Nashville. I was staying with like two older gentlemen and then like a student that was at one of the colleges in Nashville. I forget. But nonetheless, I'm staying there. She suggested that we could do that. I was like, all right, cool. So I move in. But now when I was doing that, when I was staying in that room, I didn't really have a job. I was like selling Cutco knives. And I was trying to figure out, watching a lot of entrepreneurial videos. I was basically stuck in my own way. I'm mindful this is somebody that's trying to pursue the NFL. I'm waking up every day, going to train early in the morning. I am kind of a bum, the way I looked at it. I was pursuing a dream, but I didn't really have anything going on. If the NFL didn't come calling, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I was like, well, I could do this life insurance thing. I kind of looked into it, saw a lot of people making money, watched some YouTube videos, and was like, hey, something I want to do. Apply for my license first time, go in there, no respect to the process, fail. Cool. Come back, take it again, fail. Come back, take it again, fail. At that point, I then had to go on a probationary period, which I think is like 60 days. And I still had to get a job. So I move in with my girl at the time, so my wife. And I remember realizing I had to get a job, and I had to do something that I really, really didn't want to do. And I had worked valet. It's kind of subject, like, I didn't have to work valet. I had some money saved up, but I was still doing it. This is like, I really had to, right? This was my first real sense of like, I can either do this or I could go back home and live with my pops. There's only two options. Because I had to make money and I couldn't just be sitting in this girl's basement. I had done that already from like September until like December. And I was like, can't be bummy. So I ended up working door to door. And it was probably, I only did it for 3 months, but all I needed to know was in that 3 months. I needed to know nothing else. The first month I got out there was absolutely freezing. I think it was like 15, 20 degrees. And we were just knocking doors. We still had to do it. It wasn't the greatest. I think for that first month, it was anywhere between like 25 and 40 degrees. I learned so many skills in such a short period of time. I was exposed to a lot. And I remember thinking that I did not respect that opportunity of life insurance at all. I was like, man, I was making excuses for myself. Oh, I didn't pass it. It's not meant to be, whatever. Then I came to realize that uh, the reality is I just wasn't going hard enough. Knew what going hard in one area of my life looked like, but I did not know what going hard in other areas of my life looked like. So what I decided to do is I eventually saw another ad. It was it was actually a remote sales job. I didn't really look at it that well because I was applying on ZipRecruiter. I never forget. I was sitting outside of a house and I was like, I do not want to do. I can't do this forever. If I don't get picked in the league, what am I going to do? I remember I went to a like a football event, and there was no like scouts there, even though there were supposed to be. And I was like, yo, I might not ever make it to NFL, and if I don't, like, I need to figure out what my life looks like. So I apply for this job, or I fill it out, and then I get a call. The guy picks it up. I'm thinking it's like some remote sales position, not life insurance. And the guy, after further conversation, is like, hey, this is pest control. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good. That's another door to door. Um, He's like, what are you looking for? The gentleman was like, well, I don't even remember this guy's name. He's like, what are you looking for? I'm like, yo, I need a remote sales job. Like, I don't want to. He's like, dude, you should talk to this guy. So I get on the call, or he like introduced me to the call. I'll never forget. I went to go get this Chinese food. I'm outside the spot. I go and I talk to him, and I'm like, hey, what do you do? And he's telling me. And then he follows it up, well, I sell life insurance. I'm like, ah, man, I don't want to do this again. And there's a reason why I'm going down this rabbit hole. Uh, so I eventually then decide, you know what? Cool. I'm going to take my test again. So sign back up, take my test. But this time I was like, I had quit the door to door job. So I didn't give myself an option. I was like, I have to put the ultimate pressure on myself. I'm not going back there, and I haven't passed this. I'm in that middle ground. What am I going to do next? You know? And that was my first moment where I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to pass this test. And I'm going to get as uncomfortable as I can. I'm going to treat this like I do football. And if I attack it with that same mindset, there's no way I can't win. So I signed up for the test, and I studied harder for anything than I probably ever studied before. And I was flashcards, review sessions, like anything you could think of. Eventually, I put so much pressure on myself, I put my back against the wall that I had to. I passed the test, and I knew that my wife was about to go into medical school. I needed to have some money to make. I didn't want to go back to that, but I wanted to do this, and I needed something. I was like, I got to make more money because I'm doing all this work. I'm making okay money, but I'm spending all of it because I'm still training. So I'm living like almost two lives, whereas other people aren't, meaning that like I have to spend money for, I had to basically go spend money on like training, food, meal prep, like stuff that most people aren't spending money on. I'm spending money on while I'm working this job, already not making a lot of money, but now I'm spending money as if I'm in the NFL. So I'm doing like everything that all the NFL players do in the offseason, but I don't have the NFL offseason money, right? The massages, so because I'm like in my mind, I had to be prepared if I get an opportunity. I can't get hurt. I got to be on top of my stuff. I got to be ready to shine. Well, fast forward, that door-to-door job is not working. So that's why I put myself in a situation like, I'm going to quit this. I can't go back because I already said I'm not going back. I remember I was talking to the one guy in insurance. He was like, yo, you can do this. You can make this. You can make this. You can make this. I was like, all right. And I passed the test. And I thought that was the end of it. And then I had to apply pressure again. So then I get started with life insurance and realize my first day I'm using my phone number instead of a local number. And at the time, I'm calling all local numbers, and they're not high intent. They're like old leads. So like having the right number or a local number would help me out with pickup rates. I called the whole day. I called them 100 leads one time. I thought that was a lot. I got like 8 pickups. Nobody told me anything. I got super discouraged to the point where I almost cried. I damn near did cry because we had rent coming up. We were moving costs, and I had to make this money like this. And I had no way to do that except through this life insurance. And my only thing that was in my mind is like, I'm going to lose all my money, and I'm going to look like a failure in front of my girl. So I wanted to marry, and I knew I was going to marry. So I was like, my wife. And I was like, I will not let that happen. So I was so frustrated. Sometimes I get overwhelmed when I don't know what decision to make. I called my mom. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't know what to do. And this is the moment where I realized that pressure is my favorite thing to apply when you really want to figure something out. Because typically you can give yourself excuses, right? But when you have real pressure on you, like life changing, life altering, like real pressure, you think through so many different ways to get a desired outcome. You give yourself no other option but to figure it out. Most of the times people say, "Hey, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't think this can work. I do not live in a limited mindset. Everything I look at, I'm like, it is possible. It's not impossible. There is a way. Just got to figure out how to do it, right? That starts with my faith rooted, but also just comes from the relentlessness to understand that everything can be figured out. You just have to take time and look at it differently. How you frame it, the angle in which you come in determines what it is, right? Some people look at really bad news as good. Some people say, man, I can't believe it. Once again, the analogy is the farmer says, oh my goodness, who's been waiting for months for it to rain, says, thank you so much that it rained today. This is so good for my crops. Then somebody on the other end has something they can't even do in the rain, which I don't know what that would be, but insert whatever that is. It's still rain though. It's the same rain, same area, same climate. Like, so everything just has different frames in how you look at it and where angle you choose to be in when you're looking at it. Look at the same thing from the left versus the right at an angle, on top, below. They look different. It's the same thing, but it looks different. It seems to be different. And that's really all that matters because that's just how you perceive it. So what I realize is when you put pressure on yourself, you literally back against that wall. Now I'm having to think through ways to get this done. So my mom is like, yo, the only thing you know how to do, and I think this has been key to my life. Here, Alex from Moses said this, but it's true because another video, which I may break down, where I talk about when I was $100,000 in debt and had to go to my wife. She said something to me that I live with, which is like, you have everything that you need. Like you already have all the things that you need, which is also another way of saying, no, the first rule of business is use what you have, right? And you think about, okay, here are the things that I already have. So at that moment, I knew I had a skill set to go knock doors. So I was like, yo, why don't you go knock doors? And I'm like, yo, that's discouraging. I spent all this money to call these leads. I think I spent $800 too on agent leads, like just to start. And I was like, call them. Door knock. She was like, yeah. So I remember I get in the car. It's like the middle of the day. Everybody's dialing, setting appointments. I just get off Zoom. They're like, what? I go, knock on the door, and first lady picks up, closer. I was like, oh my goodness, this is a sense of relief, right? So then I went and did that probably the first week until I got my money back. Then I got a local ID. Then I started calling. And I was still getting my teeth kicked in. But I wanted to share that story, and I know it was 13 minutes of your time, so I appreciate you for listening. But listen, hear this. You will not find a way out of the situation or through the situation, unless you have pressure. Because if you don't have any level of pressure, you're just going to take the easy way out and say, oh, I give up. You need to have something pushing you to say, you have to do this. There is no other option. If you don't do this, you will, whatever version of fail is to you. Doesn't have to be like actual failure, but like you perceive it as failure. You've let somebody down. You didn't hit your financial goal. You couldn't pay for something. Something wasn't provided for. Your family members may be disappointed in you. There's something that you have to frame in your mind that is a necessary alternative that you will not go to. The moment you have that, you will then find whatever the process is to get you to your said desired outcome. So let's use a life insurance agent. Agent says, man, I don't know how I'm going to get to 40K. I keep hitting 20. All right, cool. Let me give you an example. If you spent every single dollar you had on leads that you made and including your rent, do you think you'd figure it out? Yeah, you probably would, right? Like you're like, oh man, I keep spending this much. Okay, well, what if you spent double the amount you're spending on leads? What if you started knocking double the amount of people? What if you got up an hour earlier and stayed an hour later? So you have 2 more hours to your day. Oh, I'm already working 10 hours. Okay, what if you work 12? All right, I work 12. What if there's more limits. Like the limits can be pushed. Your boundaries are only set by what you currently think is possible. The moment you perceive that something else is possible, it's like the person that ran a mile in under whatever else, 4 minutes or whatever. Then everybody can do it now. It's like, did all of a sudden we all just wake up and now everybody can do it? No, it's the way that you communicate with yourself and the things that you believe. If I tell you something and then you believe what I said, you're going to pursue it and approach it differently. Your tonality is going to be different. Your confidence will be different. And these are all just behaviors that ensure that you're successful. The cool thing about life insurance is it's not like sports where like you can't wake up in the morning and be like, I just want to be fast. Like you can wake up in the morning and say, like, I'm going to talk at a different tonality. I'm going to carry myself different. I'm going to perceive things differently. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but you can make that choice. And by you making that choice, there's certain things that you can do, right? Sit different, dress different, wear different, cologne. Like there are so many different small little behavioral hacks that will help you get to your desired outcome. It's your responsibility, though, to start with the pressure. I have tons of videos talking about like how to track, how to do this, how to do that. None of that matters if this is not properly structured. Because if it's not, all you're going to do is just work with no sort of frame on how you're working or what's important. It's just like the person that just buys more leads and doesn't know their numbers. That's also really dumb. That makes no sense. Rather than you sitting down and say, okay, here are my numbers. Here's what I'm looking at. Here's what I would like to do. Here's how much I like to make. X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. And you start compounding it. And that's really the place where you want to get to, right? Is when you can put yourself in a pressure situation. Control pressure, honestly, is the best because then you can just apply it as needed. Like, I got to get this done, right? And truthfully, the only difference between somebody who makes $40,000 in a month, $100,000 in a month, $1 million in a month, 10 million is just the rate in which they do things. So if you make more money, then you just make more money quicker than the next person. You're not like inherently better than them or like above them. You just make money quicker than them. Like everybody can make $1 million. It's just like who can make $1 million the fastest and the quickest time. That's it. So all that is it typically comes from you've been making decisions quicker than the next person, more effectively than the next person. And you've been able to put those rapid decisions into a process that can afford to generate you income. If you're an agent, you just know, like, okay, I need this many leads. I got to have this many conversations. I've learned when somebody says this is what I say back. I overcome the objective. Boom. So I need less conversations with a quicker turnaround. So I'm able to make and get more out of what I put in. And that's just increased leverage and effectiveness. Obviously, that goes so far as an individual agent, but that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about an agency. But as an agency level, now you're just repeating that cycle, but through people. And then they're repeating that cycle through people. And that's how you grow. Because then you can teach other people how to do those strategies, how to speak that way, and actually how to implement those behaviors so that way they can change their environment as well. So as always, hope this video was helpful. I just wanted to share why this is an extremely important and vital moment for anybody who's looking to change. Put pressure on yourself. Put yourself into that situation. Put your back against the wall. And you would be very surprised in what you're able to come up with. So as always, I'll see you guys on the next video. Please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk soon.